What's up, it's Cinema Shogun here, and I would like to bring you all the story of a missing girl by the name of Kiely Rodni, who mysteriously vanished while attending a party in the middle of the woods in Truckee, California. Now we know people don't just up and disappear, so there is obviously something sketchy going on here. And let me just say this before I go forward. I don't know why, but I just get a weird feeling about this case. I look at missing persons cases all the time, regardless if I cover them on my channel or not. And this case really stuck out to me for various reasons, but mainly because a lot of the missing persons cases we hear about, it's always like this person goes missing while hiking. This person was last seen by themselves leaving their apartment. This person was last seen by themselves leaving work. Well, Kiely Rodni was last seen while at a party with hundreds of other teenagers, some of which were her friends and her classmates, her peers, her associates, and surely someone knows something. In fact, I will go so far as to say I believe multiple people know something. A group of people know something. A teenager doesn't go missing from the middle of a party with hundreds of people and no one sees or hears anything. And even her own friends seem not to know what happened to her. And I just find this whole story very odd. But let's just go ahead and get into the details to bring you all up to date. I'm a little late to this case. I'm sure some of you all may know some of these details, but bear with me as I go over them, and then I will give you my initial take on this case because I am just now looking into it. Police are searching for a missing 16-year-old girl who disappeared during a party at a campground in the Tahoe area on August 6th. And individuals have now raised thousands of dollars in reward money for anyone who can bring her home. Kiely Rodni was last seen near the Prosser Family Campground in Truckee, California at around 12:30 a.m. on Saturday, August 6th, where she was attending a party with more than 100 teens and young adults. The Placer County Sheriff's Office is investigating her disappearance, noting to local station KTXL that it is treating her disappearance as an abduction because they have not yet located her vehicle. Her car, a silver 2013 Honda CRV, has been missing since Saturday night, and her phone is reportedly out of service. Rodni is 5 foot 7 inches and 115 pounds, with blonde hair, hazel eyes, and a nose ring. Witnesses said she was wearing a black tank top and green dicky pants. KTXL reported her car has the California license plate 8YUR127. In a message to the public, Rodni's mother, Lindsay Rodni Neiman, said, "We just want her home. We're so scared and we miss her so much and we love her so much." Let's go ahead and hear what Kiely Rodni's mother has to say.
We just want her home. We're so scared and we miss her so much and we love her so much. And Kiely, we love you. And if you see this, please just come home. I want nothing more than to hug you. And if anybody else out there, if you know where she is, if you know anything about where she might be, if you have any ideas or thoughts, please come forward and share them. And we're not looking to bust anybody else or get anybody in trouble. We just want to see our daughter home.
The public has set out to aid in the search for Rodni, and a GoFundMe page created by Truckee resident Army Quarati has raised over $16,000 in additional reward money at the time of this publication. We hope this will encourage more people to come forward with any information that can help bring the sweet girl home. Now, Kiely Rodni's one of her best friends was actually at this party, and she claims that she was the last person to talk to Kiely Rodni. And I'm just getting really iffy feelings about all of this, but I want you all to let me know how you feel down in the comments below. I'm going to read this article, and then of course I'll give you my thoughts. But friend of missing teen Kiely Rodni recounts final call before feared abduction from California camp party. A friend of missing teen Kiely Rodni has spoken about the pair's final phone call before her friend vanished from a campground party in California. Samantha Smith, who is 18, tells The Independent that she was the last person to speak with 16-year-old Kiely after midnight on Saturday. Now, I don't know, I guess best friends, sometimes have age differences, but it seems like an 18-year-old and a 16-year-old, oftentimes they wouldn't be, best friends in a lot of situations. A lot of times 18-year-olds are getting out of high school, they're moving on with their life. 16-year-olds are still in high school. The age difference isn't a big deal, but it's just something that I want to take note of. At 12:36 a.m., she called me, and this is the last call anybody had with her. We said, "Love you, good night, get home safe," and that's the last thing we heard from her. Kiely was at a party with more than 100 teenagers and young adults at the Prosser Family Campground in Truckee, the Placer County Sheriff's Office said. Now, before I go any further, I want to also take note of this. I am seeing conflicting reports about how many people were actually at this party. Is it 100 people? Is it 200 people? Is it 300 people? That's a very, very important detail. You don't want to, misjudge how many people were there, because if you think that there were 100 people at the party, you're only looking at 100 people wanting to ask them questions. And if there's 300 people at the party, that opens up the door for so many more suspects, so many more people who could have seen something, heard something, know something. So I really think that these people need to pinpoint exactly or approximately around how many people were at this party, because some people are reporting 100, and then I see 300, and some people might not think that's a big deal, but it is a huge deal when you have someone who went missing, during this party, and you don't know if there was an additional 200 people at this party or not. We need to get down to the bottom of exactly how many people were at this party. Now, like I said, I am late to this case. Maybe people have already done that. I don't know. All I know about this case is what I've read basically so far. So I don't really know all of the details, but that's something that I think we need to get down to the bottom of, is exactly or approximately around how many people were at this party. I keep seeing different numbers, and it kind of irks me because I think that's actually a very important detail. Wouldn't you think? I mean, that's so many more people who might know something. All right, where was I? Kiely was at a party with more than 100 teenagers and young adults at the Prosser Family Campground in Truckee, the Placer County Sheriff's Office said. Because her vehicle, a silver 2013 Honda CR-V, is missing, authorities are treating the incident as a possible abduction. A spokesperson for the Sheriff's Office says on Monday that the department could not confirm whether Samantha was the last person to speak to Kiely, but said that shortly after midnight, her phone was turned off. Okay, you see, as soon as I read that Samantha is her name, that Kylie's friend Samantha was saying that she was the last person to talk to Kiely, I was automatically wondering, okay, well, how does she know that? I just, I didn't say anything. I just figured that detail was already hammered out by investigators, but from what the sheriff's office says, they don't even know if that's necessarily the case here. So, I mean, that's just something that kind of sticks out to me. I'm not saying there's anything there, but I just want to know why people automatically assume that she was the last person she talks to, or she talked to, if there's no concrete evidence of that. I guess maybe that's just what they're assuming. Samantha said that she arrived at the bonfire party around 9 p.m. on Friday, and Kiely got there about an hour later. We have been close friends since before, so we ended up meeting up with each other, sort of screaming to each other hi. For the rest of the party, we pretty much stuck to each other, Samantha says. But as the gathering grew bigger, the teenagers went separate ways while continuing to see each other sporadically throughout the party. I knew it was a big party, but it was supposed to be just the community. The party started to grow past the number of people that were supposed to be there, Samantha says. There were college kids and people from the Bay Area coming, and I got a bad feeling about it, but didn't really think much of it. Samantha said that around 11 p.m. they went to Kiely's car to charge their phones and arranged for Kiely to give her a ride home. However, she changed her mind later when she saw that Kiely was clearly intoxicated, Samantha says. Right now, we believe that it is an abduction case. She was in no state to drive, and she wouldn't have made it far, or she would have crashed, Samantha says. The teenagers said goodbye to each other around 12:25 a.m., but Kiely called Samantha while she was riding home with a friend. That was the last known call Kiely made, Samantha claims. Kiely was supposed to meet up with friends on Saturday morning to go on a hike, but she never showed up. Police have since launched search efforts on the ground and in the air in hopes of locating the teen. Kiely is described as 5'7", 115 pounds, blonde hair, hazel eyes. We already went over her description. She has numerous piercings and jewelry, including a nose ring, and was last seen wearing a green Dickies pants and black tank top. She was described by her friend as someone who enjoys singing and meeting new people. She is a great singer, and she loves to go out and do things that are adventurous. She loves going on road trips. Another community search was scheduled on Monday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. We are trying to put out more flyers and send people in little groups up and around the neighborhoods to see if they could spot her car or parts of her car, Samantha says. The Placer Sheriff's Office confirmed that this case is being investigated as an abduction and pleaded with teenagers who attended the party to come forward with any information about what happened. We are not interested in investigating teenage drinking. We're only looking to find Kiely. Oh, man. Messed up, all around messed up situation. And I just get this weird feeling in the pit of my stomach about it because she was surrounded by so many people. So many people that I would assume a lot of them were considered her friends. And I don't know how parents are raising kids these days. And I understand these are teenagers and I don't want to be harsh on them. But what happened to taking care of your friend? This Samantha girl claims to be like Kiely's best friend, yet it doesn't seem like she was acting like Kiely's best friend, because if you knew that she was out of it, you knew that she was too intoxicated to drive, you knew that she wasn't in the right state of mind, you knew that there were sketchy people showing up at this party, why would you just leave her like that? Back in my day, we didn't just leave our friends behind. You understand what I'm saying? There's been times where I had to pick up a drunk friend, put him over my shoulder, and throw him in the back of my car. Like, we didn't leave people behind. That was one of the number one rules. Now, I understand, maybe Samantha felt as if she had to go because Kiely didn't want to go and Kiely was on a whole different vibe than Samantha was on. Maybe Kiely wanted to drink and do this, and Samantha just didn't feel safe being there and couldn't convince Kiely to leave. But I didn't hear anything like that from this interview. It was just like, oh, okay, well, you're too drunk to drive, so I'm definitely not riding home with you. I'll ride home with someone else. Now, like I said, these are teenagers, they're young kids, so I want to be careful here not to be too harsh on anyone. But it's just, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words because in my day, especially women, especially girls, you didn't leave your friend behind like that. As a man, maybe there would be situations like that more often than with women. Like, you don't leave your girlfriend behind. And when, your homegirl, your sister, it's so weird to me. And the fact that there are hundreds of people at this party, yet no one seems to know anything. This girl didn't just vanish off the face of the earth and no one knows nothing. And it's not like she's just missing. Her car is missing as well. And if they haven't found her crashed on the side of the road somewhere, I don't know, I feel the worst. I really do. And this is California. And there's just a lot of weird stuff going on in this country. People are getting abducted every day. I can't even say the right words because YouTube bans me from saying the words that I want to say here. But, trafficking and all that stuff, this is a really scary situation, a very scary situation. And it's scarier to me because it's not like Kiely was isolated or by herself or, somewhere where other people weren't when she supposedly went missing. She was surrounded by so many people. A lot of people that I would assume she maybe felt kind of comfortable around. I don't want to say too much because I'm not there and I don't know this situation fully. But if she's attending a party at a campground in the middle of the woods with a bunch of her peers, I'm assuming these are all people that know her. Or a lot, not every single one of them, but I'm just assuming that this Samantha girl isn't like the only person that she knows at this party. They didn't even go to the party together. So who did she go to the party with? I know that Kiely was supposed to be Samantha's ride home, but who did Kiely ride there with? Was it by herself? What other friends were there? Why are we only hearing from Samantha? Surely she has other friends. Now, like I said, I know I'm late to the case, so I'm sure there's been a few other people speaking out, but just from skimming over everything that I was able to look up in a short amount of time, I haven't seen much out there. I've seen stuff about a boyfriend or someone who is supposedly a boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. There's a lot of conflicting information, a lot of conflicting stories. But it all boils down to the fact that this girl was at this party in the woods. Her friends were there, and none of them seemed to know anything. And it looks as if they just left her behind. Or supposedly, they just left her behind. Even though she was supposed to be Samantha's ride. Nowhere in your mind were you like, hey, maybe I shouldn't leave my inebriated friend behind. It's obviously not safe for her to drive. And there's obviously sketchy people here. So maybe I should take her with me. I just feel like that's the obvious choice. But I have to be careful because I don't want to be too harsh. But it's right there. It's like, parents, please teach your daughters. When they go out with their friends, they got to take care of each other. You got to look after each other. Maybe you might be the one that's a little too drunk today. Maybe you might be the one that's a little too drunk tomorrow. Y'all got to take care of each other. Teenagers are going to do crazy, wild things sometimes. Teenagers are going to go to parties. Teenagers will get into some mischief. But they need to have friends around them that at the very least, even if they get into trouble together, at the very least, they take care of each other, have each other's backs, and make sure that they don't leave someone behind at a party with strangers, when they're not in their right state of mind. Now, they did mention the fact that there were some older people coming to this party. Some college kids started coming, some people coming from other areas that they didn't know. So I feel like this is an all-around sketchy situation. I would assume that this wasn't just a random get-together at this campground. This is probably something that has happened before. Maybe it's something that they do on a, weekly basis, bi-weekly basis. I don't know. But when the wrong people get a hold of certain information, it could lead to some tragic things. If people who are interested in doing horrible things to people know that, hey, teenagers go over here to this location every couple of weeks and have a huge party in the woods with no parents around, no one around, there's alcohol and everything, and, you would assume that maybe they might try to take advantage of the situation. Also, another thing that's sticking out to me is there seems to be a complete lack of pictures, selfies, videos from this party. These are teenagers. The first thing they're going to do when they get there is take their phone out, start recording stuff, and start taking pictures. And like I said, I am new to this case, but I would think there would already be more photos and videos that have surfaced from this party already. And it seems to me like there's not really much out there. And I find that very suspicious, very odd, that 200-300 teenagers are out in the middle of the woods partying, and none of them are making videos and TikToks, and I don't know, I mean, maybe there's some stuff out there. I'm sure there's a little bit of stuff out there, but it seems to me like there's almost a concerted effort to not put out a lot of stuff from this party. Maybe I'm wrong there. That's just speculation, but I would just believe that we would have already had more videos and photos. Samantha didn't take a picture with her best friend, Kiely, at this party. That's kind of weird. It's just not typical teenage behavior to have this whole secret situation going on and no one's taking photos. Also, you have to consider the fact, though, that a lot of the kids out there are drinking, probably smoking some silly grass, if you will. maybe doing some other things as well. I can only imagine what these kids are doing out there. So a lot of them are probably scared to come forward because they may get in trouble. You don't want your mom to know that you were out drinking in the middle of the woods and you may or possibly saw something happen to someone, because then it will get you in trouble. But what I think these kids need to realize, if that is the case, this is way more important. Who cares if your mom gets mad that you had a few beers in the middle of the woods? If it could help save someone's life or help someone's family locate their daughter, then you need to speak up. Because someone from this party knows something. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I don't think it's just someone. I think it's some people. I think multiple people have to know something. To have seen something, heard something, maybe have done something. It just, people don't just go missing from the middle of parties without no one knowing anything, in my personal opinion. Especially a party in which you know some of the people here. But it's a difficult situation. I know this family is devastated. I mean, it saddens me looking into the case. And I know that there are kids at this party who, even if they did know something, they would be scared to speak up. Because they probably had no business being there in the first place. I've only seen, I think, 1 or 2 photos from this party. Looking at this photo right here, it looks like we have kids of all ages right out there. You know, I don't really get to see the facial features much. I'm kind of judging by the heights and stuff. And one of those kids looks like he's like 11 years old. So I'm sure some of these kids weren't even supposed to be there. Probably told their mom they're spending the night at their friend's house. Little do they know they're partying in the middle of the woods. You know, teenagers do things like that. Stuff happens. But hopefully someone has the courage to speak out. And hopefully we can get to the bottom of what's going on here. Because at the end of the day, like I said, someone definitely knows something. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all on the next video.